We will be starting the stream now.
Good evening, one and all present here. I am Satakshi Mohan, an ISTE VIT representative and your host for this session. Indian Society for Technical Education is a national, non-profit making society. Our aim is to equip present-day engineers with technical and management skills to solve the challenges of the future. We also organize a plethora of events and hands-on workshops aimed at making better professionals, bringing about holistic development of our community, and to stimulate creativity and passion among budding engineers. Our flagship event Horizon is here. Horizon started with our first workshop on competitive coding, Code Asymptote Bootcamp, our second workshop introducing us to the world of machine learning. Web Dev and Electronics are the next upcoming workshops under Horizon, so make sure to attend those for an insight in web development and electronics world. Our pan-India 48-hour-long hackathon, Technica, would be held in the month of May. So make sure you take full benefits of our workshop and gain the edge to excel in the hackathon. Today, we have with us a renowned scholar and a tech enthusiast, Mr. Sabyasachi Mukhopadhyay. Sir is a two-time TEDx speaker and a former data scientist. He is an Intel software innovator, expert in ML, and a Google champion innovator. He was also an assistant professor of business analytics at Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology. So, without any further ado, I'd like to hand over the session to our speaker. Sir, the stage is all yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the kind invitation. I am thankful to ISTE as well as VIT University for inviting me here. Just a small correction. Actually, I was associated with Macau University under the government of West Bengal. Now, currently, I am the assistant professor in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata, as well as like our host has mentioned, that I am also the Google developer expert in machine learning, Google champion innovator, as well as the Indian software innovator. This is my third time as an invited speaker with VIT. My earlier two invited talks, I have executed basically hands-on session, for example, on machine learning, reinforcement learning. But as per the guideline provided to me by the organizers, today's talk will be basically guidance as how to start your career, what are the career opportunities in front of you in terms of the ML or AI angle. Okay, so those who are the attendees, I have shared the PPT with your organizers. After today's session, if you are interested, you can collect the PPT from your organizers. You can directly email to me as well if you require the PPT. Okay, and I will also share my all the learning resources like the GitHub link or, for example, my YouTube channel link, etc. during the end of session. So let me share the screen and let us see that how we can explore your career on the direction of AI/ML. Can you see the screen? Okay, so what I am doing, I'm just going to the slide sharing mode. I hope the screen is visible to all of you. So today's talk is all about the career opportunities in artificial intelligence and machine learning. So basically today we are going to discuss about the introduction to AI/ML, then career in AI/ML, then startups to drive the growth of AI/ML, industry job roles on AI, machine learning, and deep learning, skills for success in AI and ML, my journey, personal journey with AI and ML, and finally conclusion. So as you know that AI or artificial intelligence is basically a branch of science which can assist the machines to find the solutions of the complex problems in a more human-like fashion. Okay, so it's all about the mimicking human activity when the idea was originated from 1940s, and John McCarthy played a very, very important role in terms of the coining the idea with AI. And then we all know that it's AI is nowadays, as per the experts, it is going to the future of the next generation technology, and it can encompass the variety of the disciplines, like for example, medical sciences, finance, engineering, management. In every domain, it is flourishing its potentials. So if we see the what the experts are saying, like Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, AI is the main tool. Okay, and behind the new age innovation and discoveries like the driverless cars, or for example, disease detection algorithm. If we see what Barack Obama is sharing his thoughts, who is the former president of the United States, generalized AI is worth thinking about because it stretches our imaginations and it gets us to the think about our core values and the issues of choices. As well as we can also check out what Elon Musk is also sharing his thoughts regarding AI. We have the founder and CEO of the Tesla and SpaceX. So AI will be the vastly smarter than any human and would overtake us by 2025. As per the Jeff Bezos, for the founder and CEO of Amazon, we are now solving problems with machine learning and AI that were in the realm of science fiction for the last several decades. So let us see that if we can see that what is ML, then if we have defined the AI where you can get the final trained output machine where we can mimic the human activities like the Amazon Alexa. So ML is basically a subset of AI. Okay, where you can do these certain classification stuffs, like for example detecting spams in your email folder, or for example for detection while making the financial transactions, or early diagnosis of diseases. In all those cases talk about, AI is making it quite possible for the humans to constantly monitor the multiple channels with feeds coming in from a huge number of the cameras at the same time. Now, if we see, for example, all of us know that Sophia is the first AI humanoid robot, which has been developed by the Hong Kong-based company Hanson Robotics, who came into the fame by developing the Sophia. So, if we see, for example, the picture you can see in the left-hand side, the India welcomes robot Sophia for the first ever interactive session in Kolkata. So in Kolkata, West Bengal, the first interactive session held with Sophia. So Sophia introduced herself and spoke to the students appearing the exam. So the YouTube link is given there. You can check out the videos. It will be a very soothing experience for all of you. Like I've mentioned that PPTs are shared already with the organizers, so you can collect it from them and you can check out the video. Okay, how the Sophia is interacting with the students. So now if you see, for example, the big data and applications for an angle, because AI and ML, apart from that, another important angle that is related to the big data, because nowadays, the number of the stars in the universe is equal to the number of the bits in the digital world. So you can understand that it is a humongously digital world is expanding day by day. It's an exponential growth. Okay. So basically what happens that whenever we talk about big data, we don't define it with that much of the petabyte will be big data, that gigabyte will be big data. Rather, we define it with the three V's: volume, velocity, and variety. Okay. operations. And as you have seen, Python has a very diversified application in various domains, particularly in data science or even AI perspective. If you see, all those things are highly Pythonic. All the frameworks which are you will deal with processing the machine learning or deep learning operations like TensorFlow or the Keras or PyTorch, like I mentioned earlier. So having knowledge on Python is very, very important. It's quite easy. If you practice, you can do it. Okay. And the visualization, those who are not very much cozy with the coding, but just template driven tasks you can do in the visualization. Okay. So for example, there are a lot of ample job opportunities that there in visualization, like Tableau or Power BI. In Indian scenario, if you know Tableau, you can easily grab 6-digit salary job per month in India. There are a lot of job opportunities in visualization aspect. And if you know advanced Excel, that is also fine. From the advanced Excel, you can also do a lot of visualization stuffs as well. And it is very useful. And along with that also, which I want to highlight, the apart from this particular skill setups, like automation engineer in AI domain, another important thing comes up with the automation engineer. So robotic process automation, you can check out. It is also a template driven task. You don't have to code there. So earlier, if you talk about 2014-15 scenarios, it was all about business process management. But then in 2018, business process management was gradually overshadowed with the efficacy of RPA, robotic process automation. So one of our topmost IT company of our country, they got the project from Japan of RPA, but they have planned to hire, for example, 3 lakhs people from India in 2018. But they found that only 250 to 300 people know RPA, robotic process automation. So this is also comes under the job role of AI, automation engineer, robotic automation architect. These can be the possible job roles. Can you imagine the gap that you require? The company wants to hire 3 lakh people, but they are finding only 250 to 300 people are aware of RPA or robotic process automation. It's a high salary job, but unfortunately, when company found that only this much people know about that, so they decided to go for the robust training of RPA. Okay, and obviously the initial level, if you don't have the exposure, the salary will be very much lesser. So that's the reason I have not highlighted the salary range in my slide, because those who are the experts, they are going to get humongous amount of the salary. There is no upper limit in industry. There is no upper limit of the salary. If you have quite skills, if you have a very good skill setup, you can get any figure. But if you don't have the adequate skill setup, like let me tell you that companies like Capgemini, for example, they are hiring data scientist freshers. They have started hiring data scientist freshers from 2021. Earlier, it was common idea, common concept that you require 2-3 years of skill setup to get hired with the machine learning engineers, or for example as a job role of the data scientist. But nowadays freshers are also getting the opportunity. But if you don't have the exposure earlier, then you may get 4 LPA, okay, 4 lakh per annum, which is not a very good figure. But if you don't have exposure, you can start with that amount. But if you are doing good in the industry, you can get a very good amount. And let me tell you, those who are the experts of the data science domain, AI, ML domain, I have seen the average. If we talk about the mean salary, I'm not talking about median salary. In Indian currency, I have seen that people are getting 15 LPA, 16 LPA. These are very common salary. I mean, I'm talking about those who have a very good hand setup on those directions. So it depends upon your skill. Like I have mentioned, like RPA. Okay, in 2025 it will be IPA. Okay, when this basically RPA concept is being combined with AI related stuffs, and intelligence process automation will come into the picture. Okay, so there your automation software will have the cognition of their own. RPA basically it's all about template driven approach. The automation software doesn't have any cognition or decision making power. As per your template driven approach, they will do all the tasks, like sending 20,000 email per day, or automating fixing up the salaries or the hikes, automating hikes of your employees. Like for example, TCS, they have the number of employees is equal to the number of the people living in African continent. So can you imagine the number of the employees they are working in TCS? So in those cases, automated related softwares like RPAs play a very, very vital role. Okay, it helps HR sector a lot, because you can give time by time hike to your high performers in your company, or you can onboard high skill set of people by scanning the job, scanning their CVs, and scanning the JDs in terms of your automated softwares. So this plays a very, very vital role there. Okay. So now if I talk about my own journey, like I mentioned that although uh, I basically my journey started with AI and ML directly from the research, because I was from the electronics and communication engineering background. So already I was aware of the machine learning. I was aware of the signal processing and the image processing stuffs quite well. Then when I during my master thesis, actually I was exploring the optics domain, my research on optics domain, optical biomedical engineering domain, you can say, where I was processing the tissue images, spectroscopy images, spectroscopy data basically. So here we have our target in the early diagnosis. We applied the different research programs. So in those times we were using MATLAB, but as I had a plan in my mind to launch a product, so that's the reason I started to explore with Python, because you see Python and Java, these two are the platform which you can easily deal with the cloud. These are the cloud communicator language. So I emphasized on Python. Then gradually, as per the sake of need, I also learned deep learning. I applied there, and you can see we have developed AI-based app actually for the early diagnosis of cancer, like skin cancer, oral cancer, or diabetic retinopathy kind of stuffs, which is a major cause of blindness. And these are the possible impact which we have created from our startup, Will Medtech Private Limited. Later on, I launched my own startup as well. During working in industry as a project scientist, basically my job role was analogous to data scientist, like I had mentioned earlier. So there also I did a lot of stuff related to the computer vision, deep learning. So basically, if you see the impact we have created later on when I launched my own startup as well. So that was pain-free early stage cancer diagnosis and low-cost portable device, then generating the report within few minutes, where biopsy takes several days of time, or automatic solution and highly efficient. Our works was being highlighted, highly appreciated in terms of the media like G News, Odisha TV, World News World India, NewsX, because we are the first group across the globe. They potentially used these AI-based techniques on the eye disease detection purpose, and they're developing the product on the basis of that. And also the newspapers like the Hindu Business Standard, Indian Express, the Economic Times, also they highlighted those facts. Also our cancer is a success, where we have AI-based cancer is a success. If you see, it has been highlighted in the Hindu Business Standard, Indian Express, Analytics India magazine. And also our cancer research has been included in the syllabus of the Indian toughest exam like IS or IBPS exams, or the IBPS or banking related sectors. Also, you were the first runner-up in 2017 by the MIT NASA's hackathon. And also I got already mentioned in the embassy of the India to Switzerland. Okay, so for my AI-based research, and like these are my journey where actually I got this success related to the AI-based research. And nowadays, if you see, when I came to from industry to academics, okay, because I love teaching, I love interact with the young minds. So now also I am teaching AI related stuffs to the students. And like I will share my GitHub account link as well. I separately created another GitHub for the to guide the students. I am continuously updating the study materials there, AI related coding, a different sector of coding, okay, which can help you to explore to do your projects. So you can go through my GitHub, you can follow them, you can explore that. Also, I am uploading my invited talks hands-on session in my YouTube channel as well. You may get benefit from those as well. And I also started writing my Medium account, from the Medium account, to give the proper guidances of the students, like how can you nurture your career in AI ML direction, or what are the job roles or job opportunities in RPA, robotic process automation, or what are the job opportunities in reinforcement learning. So gradually I am uploading all the content there. You can follow me in Medium as well. So like I have mentioned, that AI is creating greater impact on the world economy. And as you can see, that the number of the AI jobs is expected to grow up globally by 16%. Okay, and as you can see, that this is the vital sector which can create impact on the every direction, whether we are talking about healthcare or agriculture or banking, or the automation domain, like we have discussed about the robotic process automation is one of the prime enabler of the job. And you see that in every 5 years, and if you want to stay relevant in industry, you have to upgrade your skill set. You don't have to wait for your company to organize the training for you for the new upcoming technology. You yourself have to upgrade it. For example, in RPA, those who are working in RPA, IPA will come up by 2025, intelligence process automation. So you have to train yourself accordingly. You have to be updated accordingly accordingly, because it will help you to, whenever the new job, new skills, new opportunities are coming up, you can usually grab those job roles. You can lead the team as well. If you don't have those advanced skill setup, you may have to bench. You may have to be benched, and somebody else may take place of yours. So in those cases, you have to avoid to be being benched in the company. Okay, because as you know, this is a highly competitive market. You don't have to be fair about the technology, but remember that when the new set of technologies are coming up, the new job roles are winding up. Okay, so that's the reason in global economy, if you see AI ML related jobs, deep learning related jobs are on high demand. Okay, and it is providing the huge boost in terms of the global economy. So these are my social media handles. You can join me there. Okay, you can ask me questions related to the AIML related guidances. If you require mentorship related to different projects, I am always there. Okay, so thank you very much for inviting me here. Let me share all the details related to my GitHub and etc. Just a second. Let me share the links one by one. So you can. This is my GitHub link. You can follow me in GitHub and access all the projects which I am gradually uploading there, and also the study materials, like for example, data structure using Python, or the projects like the keystroke dynamics using AI, or assisting cybersecurity with AI. Those things are there. Also, materials related to the deep learning is also available there. You can follow me and access those codes. If you require any help in terms of the robustment of your code or understanding the code, you can easily approach me there. Also, let me share my Medium account link as well. There I am gradually providing all the necessary guidances, career related guidances to the student with my article. You can follow me in Medium as well. Also, let me share about my YouTube channel link. So you can find my invited talks or hands-on session related details in my YouTube channel link as well. You can subscribe it. So these are the all three important platforms which you can remain benefited from me. All the links are given there. Also, I am sharing my email ID in the chat box. You can email me and interact with me directly if you require any help. This is my email ID as well. So if you have any questions now, please feel free to ask me. I hope that this particular session was quite helpful for all of you in terms of planning your career on AIML or deep learning directions. Now the podium is yours. Feel free to ask me the questions related to AIML or deep learning. If I know, definitely I will try my level best to answer it.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
sir,
so
for
much.
such an exhilarating talk. I'm sure we all learned a lot. Now we will move on to the Q&A session to clear the doubts. So, this is a very common doubt from a non-CSE student. I am a non-CSE student. I belong to the EC branch, but I'm very much interested in learning ML. So how do I go about it?
Well, so like I have mentioned, I am also from the EC background. So that's the reason I'm saying that
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, because in EC already you are studying signal processing or signal systems. So you have a very, very strong grip in terms of the basic concepts related to Fourier transform, okay, transfer function, etc. You have a very strong grip on that. You know unit step function, unit ramp function, impulse function. Those concepts are always with you. These are the very basic in terms of making a strong base. Okay, what is time domain, what is frequency domain? Already you guys know that. Okay, so from that, one of the important thing which you may accelerate in terms of the learning wavelet transform and etc. And apart from that, you can accelerate your study in terms of going through the basics layer of the linear algebra, like I mentioned, that basic calculations on the eigenvalue, eigenvectors. It will give you the basic understanding level while studying the, for example, principal component analysis or singular value decomposition. Because machine learning, if you go through, it's completely depending upon your skill setups on the linear algebra as well as the probability. In case of the probability, like I mentioned, that Bayes theorem, okay, it is very important to understand, because naive-Bayes algorithms or the dynamic Bayesian models like Markov or hidden Markov model, it is completely based on the Bayes theorem. So conditional probability, having strong grip on conditional probability will help you a lot. And I believe that those who are from the electrical engineering background or EC or the EIE, applied electronics instrumentation or the EEE. Okay, so during appearing in your GATE exam as well, you have to go through the basics of those things. So it is already in the part of your curriculum as well. So better to know about them. Okay, what is Gaussian distribution? If you're doing Fourier transform over the Gaussian, what will be the shape? Okay, what is box function? So these are very basic preliminary things which are already there in the curriculum of those students related to EC, electrical, or the EEE or AEI, those background student. And apart from that, like I mentioned, that knowing R and Python will give you a huge boost. Okay, for example, R, you know that it has humongous support in terms of the statistical purpose and quite easier to learn. And knowing Python, it is a diversified application. But if you only talk about the AI, ML, or data science direction, if you see the Pythonic frameworks like Keras, TensorFlow, PyTorch are there. So if you know any of the framework, you can easily do the tasks related to machine learning or deep learning. So this is one of the important angle. And if somebody is facing difficulty in coding, I believe that CSIT students will not face any difficulty. But in case, apart from CSIT, if other background students are facing any difficulty, so they can go with the visualization aspects like Tableau or Power BI. This has a humongous job opportunities if you know Tableau or Power BI. Okay, in terms of the visualization I'm talking about. And if you have a plan in terms of the, not from just from the angle of the analyst, if you have a plan to become a top-notch data scientist, you see, obviously analysis is one of the, or doing the visualization, one of the subset of data scientist job role. But in many scientific job, I mean, this kind of the scientist position, whether it is a scientist or project scientist or data scientist job roles, in many cases we have seen that you have to develop your own algorithm. Okay, now this as the reason you see, if you check the average salary of the data scientist and the data analyst or the business analyst, data scientist are paid higher than the data analyst or the data scientist job. Business analyst job. Why? Because you are contributing towards algorithm. Now, that's the reason I am telling you that to understand the deep data structure is very, very important. Why? Because, for example, you are processing n by n image. Okay, now whenever you are processing n by n image, you know, image having a matrix-like structure. Okay, so from your basic knowledge of the data structure, you know that if you are writing the code of one by one line, so it will be basically a nested for loop. For I equals to 1 to n, for j equals to 1 to n. In this way, you are accessing the different rows and columns of this particular matrix. Now you see what will be the order of complexity in that particular case. It will be order of n square. Now, if we unfold it, unfold means either you can unfold it horizontal direction or vertical direction. So after the unfold, what will be the result? For example, in your first row, you have ABC. In your second row, you have DEF. Now, if you are unfolding horizontally, it will be ABCDEF. Or if you are unfolding it vertically, it will be ABCDEF. Okay. So in terms of linear algebra, we call it vectorization. Now, once you do the vectorization, what is the effect? You can observe there. So order of complexity from order of n square, it will be reduced from order of n square to order of n. So that is the beauty. And that kind of trick you have to use when you are basically you want to provide your own algorithmic contribution there. That kind of understanding you should have. Because you see, our target is to store data in cloud. Okay, we deploy cloud-based analytics there, but you see, continuous storage of data in cloud, it will create the congestion. And due to the congestion, you will observe the latency. So you are not getting the update in real time. Okay, so you will see some delay. So where you require the real-time update, like in healthcare sector or in banking sector, to prevent the fraudulent activity. So there you require the real-time update. So to get the real-time update, what are the alternative things you do? You use the edge-based devices like smartphone, where you reduce the load from the cloud. You do the simple analytics in edge-based platforms like smartphone, and you do the complicated study in the cloud. So because in cloud, you have the virtual processor power, which you can utilize for the complicated analysis purpose, and the trivial analysis you can do with a low processor device like smartphone. Now, whenever you are doing the analysis in low processor devices like smartphone, you can understand you have to always deal with the lesser time complexity and lesser space complexity. So then you have to play that kind of trick, like I mentioned, that how we are reducing from order of n squared to order of n. So that's the reason nowadays, if you are really planning of high salary jobs, you have to be very clever enough while dealing with the data structure. Okay, different sorting algorithms. How can you reduce the time complexity, space complexity? That plays a very, very vital role because it's an era of edge devices. If we even talk about fog computing, for example, gateway is also played a very, very vital role there in terms of reducing the latency from cloud. So those are the tricks which you have to follow. And if you, these are, I mean, this doesn't matter whether you are from the CSC, IT, or EC, or electrical. These are very simple things. If you can go through them, if you have the passion, main thing is all about passion. If you have passion, you can easily learn it. Okay, so it is not mandatory always to you to be from the background of CSC or IT. If you have passion, you can easily learn it. Because being engineering students, all of you have a standard brain, okay, and standard capabilities of executing certain algorithms and codings. And as I always say, that is all about the self-belief. The more self-belief you will have, the more you will be you'll be doing well in terms of your career directions. Next question, please. I believe that I've been able to give you some guidances
Yes,
that how to
sir.
proceed. And if you require any further help, my email ID is always with you. You can contact me. No problem.
Okay, sir, what is one practical advice you would give to us? Sir, theory is very good, but what do you think is one practical necessity for us to start in ML?
Well, like I have mentioned, that nowadays we are not storing data with pen and paper. Okay, we are storing data with either with the cloud-based approach or with your machines. So basically, you see that the job setup, job roles. If you see, for example, if you are planning of starting your own company, or you are planning to join certain company, or if you are planning your career direction in academics, so in everywhere you have a basic necessity. One thing will be common, that is data. Okay, because today is the sensor-based world, we are continuously generating data. Okay, so I mean, for example, now you have to understand that in some cases you have to apply your skills to process the real-time data. In some cases, a latency is okay. Like for example, I'm giving you one practical scenario. For example, healthcare or in the banking sector, I already told you that there you require the real-time update. Okay, and there may be some scenarios where you don't require real-time update. Latency is okay. Like you are doing the one application in agricultural field, like you are doing crop predictions, AI-based crop predictions. Now latency is fine. So you can see that whether you are affording latency or not, in every sector you see the data-driven approaches are given there. Nowadays, if you see in the management world, earlier it was qualitative. Now it is quantitative. You can see MBA programs in data science and data analytics, like Symbas is providing one of the very popular program, or very common program like business analytics is also there. So it's not only about the engineering background. People, those who are doing MBA, they are also studying it from the business angle. Those who are doing MSc, for example, MSc in data science, these are very common program nowadays. So whether it is science, technology, or management, in every aspect you are dealing with data. Now the data is different. Like in engineering sector, you may face more job roles related to image analyst. You may have to apply deep learning based application for doing a lot of computer vision stuffs, image recognition stuffs you may do. Where the management people, they will apply, for example, apply for the job related to HR analyst, financial analyst, marketing analyst. So according to your expertise, the job role may vary a bit, but basics thing is that the data is common everywhere, and it is a common platform to store the data. Nowadays we are applying the classical machine learning, classical deep learning. Okay, after 20 years you may experience that you are basically processing the quantum data. Either you are processing classical data in quantum processor, you are processing, or you are processing quantum data in quantum processor. So quantum machine learning, quantum deep learning, that kind of stuff will come up. So the thing is that data is going to stay there. You are not storing data with pen and paper at all. You have to store data. So data generation, first thing is that data generation. Once you are generating data either through sensors, or for example you are doing certain survey for example in some city area, for example in Vellore, you are doing certain survey, like which is most popular, Pepsodent or Colgate or any other toothpaste. So you are making a survey. So you are also generating a survey related report. You found that out of 10 people, 6 people are preferring Pepsodent, 3 people are preferring Colgate, and someone is preferring some other toothpaste. Okay, or it can be vice versa as well. So I am not promoting any brand. I am just giving an example. So you are generating data. That is also server related data. You can do certain questionnaire and you can prepare your own sheet. So you are continuously generating data. So once you generate data, you have to store it. So like I told you, that cloud-based approach is one of the approach where you can store, and then after storing, you have to process it. So either you can process it in the cloud-based approach, cloud analytics-based approach, or you can take some help, like I told you, if you require real-time updates, you have to remove the latency factors. So either with your smartphone-based low-processor device or the fog devices like gateway, you can process the data. So after storage, then come processing. Now, after once you process, you have to interpret it. And then for the interpretation purpose, basic knowledge on statistics will be very, very important. Otherwise, you will not be able to interpret the data properly. And obviously, you have to understand the data's background as well. Because you see, if you don't have the few data sets having the certain domain specification knowledge is also required. Either you have expert on domain expert with you, otherwise you will not be able to interpret it. Like for example, you are analyzing data related to the stock to understand the stock market behavior. Now, if you don't have the understanding on the data pattern, you may analyze it from your own knowledge, and you may, by luck, you can get some good interpretation. But if you don't have the understanding of the what kind of the data and how the stock market is behaving over the period of time and etc., you can only make the statistical inferences, but the physical phenomena, interpreting the result in terms of the physical phenomena, there may be some lack. So in those cases, you may have to take some help in terms of the students who are from the finance background or from the economics background. You may have to take help from them. Or you are analyzing, for example, astrophysics data. Okay, in those cases also may happen the same problem. You have the AI skill. You may have analyzed the data very well. You have input the interpretation in terms of statistics very well, but you don't have the domain knowledge on astrophysics. So during the physical interpretation, one is the statistical angle interpretation, that this we can see that kind of the behavior in the data. Okay, that kind of the cyclic behavior is present. Okay, that kind of the trend is present there. Okay, we are seeing the fluctuation here, power law behavior, etc. You may point out those things, but what is happening actually in physical way, you require somebody from this astrophysics background who can guide you. So in some cases, you may find that you require to collaborate with the domain expert in terms of making the proper interpretation, because you have the expertise on the data science domain, but it doesn't mean that you will understand every data, you can deal every data in a similar way. So in some cases, you will require the domain expert as well, along with the interpretation purpose. Okay, so that's the reason I'm saying that you have to understand that we are generating data continuously. We are storing data with the cloud-based approach. We are taking the help of edge computing or fog computing to storage and the analysis purpose. Okay, and how can we interpret the data? In some cases, we require the domain expert as well. Okay, these are the very common part of the industry. Now you see, it may happen that now in present scenario, you don't require the earlier analysis of the data. So what is the way? You can archive the data. So archiving is the fourth step. First step is the data generation. Second step, storage. Third step, analytics. Fourth step, archiving of the data. But you may ask one common question. Sir, if we don't require the data, for example, that particular data, why don't we delete it or remove it? In terms of industrial aspect, if we talk about. Now, as per the data protection policy rule, until or unless you are completing the auditing, you can't delete any data from the database. Okay. After auditing, you can justify that, okay, this particular space unnecessary is being occupied with the data. We have to spend some unnecessary money. So it is better to delete that particular portion of the data. But that you can do after the auditing. So fifth stage comes the data purging. PURGING, data purging. That means deleting. Okay. So these 5 stages are the basic data cycle which industry people follow. Okay. And you have to understand that in industry, in whatever the job domain you may have, the basic thing, which is a very common thing, which you can take a note of it, that is skills matrix matching. Industry works on the basis of the skills matrix matching. Okay, any top organizations, for example, it can be MIT, Harvard, Stanford, in academics as well, while doing the research, or Walmart or Google or Meta in terms of the industry angle, they all works on the basis of the skill matrix matching. For example, you are very strong in data science. Somebody, your friend may be very strong in marketing. Somebody your friend may be very strong in Android app development. So whenever you are participating in a hackathon, or whenever you are planning to participate or to launch your own organization, it is always better to onboard different skill set of people altogether on the basis of the skill matrix matching. So whatever the challenge you may face, at least if you are not getting the 100% success, you will be able to address the problem on a certain level, certain extent. It will help you to avoid outsourcing. Okay. In the initial stage of the startups and etc. In many organizations also, people do like that. And even in, like I mentioned, that in many cases it may happen that you have done the analysis, but you require some domain expert support to do the proper interpretation. So in those cases, you have to collaborate with them as well. If they are existing within your team, it's fine. Otherwise, you have to collaborate with some people as well. So that's the reason the collaboration is very, very important. Another angle, apart from the skill matrix matching, try to do the skill matrix matching in robust way, such that there will be very lesser probability of doing outsourcing. And whenever you are doing outsourcing, try to collaborate. So that's the reason you can see nowadays is a very common terminology you may hear in last 2-3 years, which is coining up, that is industry academic collaboration. A lot of workshops are going on in different colleges, university, industry academic collaboration. They are onboarding industry people as a mentor. They are coming up, they are sharing their thoughts, because to reduce the knowledge gap. Like you see that because of the knowledge gap, the example I took of the 2018 scenario, that when RPA, certain one of the top IT company for India, they are looking for the had 3 lakh people with robotic process automation skill set, but they found only 250 to 300 people know that. Why this gap? Can you imagine the gap? 300 people know the skill, and the job demand of 3 lakh people was there. So jobs are there, but the problem is that we don't have the proper skill setup. So that's the reason this kind of the industry academy meet becomes very, very important nowadays, to reduce those job gap, such that students can come to know about those skill setups. They can be trained on those directions, and they can get the desired job. Okay, that those high salary jobs. Okay, so that is the reason you have to understand that what is the market need, how market is behaving, and how the industry is working. Okay, so the more you will become practical, the more it will be better for you before going to the industry. Even if you come to the nowadays in the academics, it doesn't matter. And even in academics, you see, if you ask any of your experienced professors, they will say that even in academics also you have to do a lot of industry projects. You can onboard sponsored projects and etc. in academics as well. So being professors also, you require to understand the vibe of the industry as well, to do execute all those sponsored projects. So you can see that the main motto is that you have to be practical enough. You have to understand that how the industry is working. You yourself will be able to understand that which job roles are existing in the market and which are not. So that is why I'm saying that staying relevant is very, very important. And that's the reason upskilling and reskilling, these two are the very, very important factor, okay, to sustain in this world.
Thank you, sir. That would be all from our side. Thanks a lot, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule and sharing your valuable experience with us. There couldn't have been a better ending to our workshop, ML Bootcamp. I'm certain all of us gained an insight about industrial experience in machine learning from you. I would like to thank all the participants for attending the session and making this event a grand success. We shall be providing the link for the feedback form in the chat section. Please make sure to fill it. Do follow us on our Insta media platforms to know more about the upcoming events. There are links in the description below. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you very much for the kind invitation. I believe all the participants was benefited from the talk and the discussions. If you need any help, my email ID is given there. Feel free to contact me anytime. Just one thing before wrapping up the workshop, I want to mention that have potential on your skill setups, okay, on your intelligence, brush it up more, and make sure that we are making the science and technology blessings towards our society. So by taking that vow, let me wrap up today's session. Good wishes to all of you. Okay, take care. God bless you all.